Hi, and welcome to Chain Reactions, a weekly live stream from Myosin.xyz, the leading global marketing network, and hosted by yours truly, Blake, and my co-host, Polina. Tune in each week as we jam on the latest happenings in the wild and wonderful world of Web3. We're live on unlonely.app every Wednesday, 12 p.m. Eastern, and release the pod every following week on Tuesdays. Now, let's talk Chain Reactions. Okay, I'm feeling good. You guys feeling good? Should we get started?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right, let's kick it off. Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to Chain Reactions, hosted by yours truly and Polina, my co-host. Say hi, Polina.
Hi.
Chain Reactions is the live streaming podcast hosted by Myosin, Ultimate Marketing Network, where we talk to leaders and marketing leads and awesome folks from all across the on-chain ecosystem. And today we have a friend, Locha from Fuul, who's going to talk to us all about incentivizing on-chain actions and a bunch of other things. So I'll hand the floor over to you, my friend, and let you kind of tell us and our listeners a little bit about yourself and what you're up to, and we can take it from there.
Awesome. Thank you guys for having me. It's great to chat today. I'm not an expert. This is like an evolving field, so I'm happy to bounce ideas here with you as well. You both are.
We're always figuring it out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You both are great marketers in the space, and it's great to have the space. But yeah, I'm Locha, by the way. I'm a co-founder and CEO at Kuyan Labs, which we are the main developers of the Fuul protocol. And Fuul is basically an incentives distribution protocol. We help mostly chains and DeFi protocols to pay out points or tokens for any user incentivized action. That's in one line what Fuul is about.
Awesome. So when you talk about, building ways to incentivize certain actions, what are those ways? Are specific like buckets? Are you limiting yourself like towards one versus the other, or you're kind of covering it all?
We're kind of like covering it all. So I think like what I usually try to talk with projects is about incentivizing what actually enhances your bottom line. Okay, if you're already monetizing, okay, you want to generate more revenue, right? Like what are those incentives that you need to put in place so that people actually do more of what makes you more revenue? If you're not monetizing, that means, okay, what strengthens your network effects or your dominance in that specific market? So that could be, we talk with many projects that are like in the lending space, so lending protocols, also exchanges, tokens that launch generally. So they want to have more volume, they want to have more liquidity providers. And then overall, exchanges, maybe they want to, grow their user base as well. So it really depends on a case-by-case basis. But I would say our mission is to become like this operating system for incentives for crypto, because I truly believe that incentives, of course, they address the cold start problem in any network that you want to build. But I think it's so intrinsic to crypto that we'll see this like for the whole life cycle of projects. So Fuul is for the project that wants to, have a solution to deploy these incentives in an efficient way, from maybe when they start early days to when they do TGE, after they do TGE, how they keep the network actually growing. So yeah, we work with many projects from different verticals and also different stages.
I think I want to back it up a bit and just also let people know like how did you come to this space in general?
We love a good origin story. Yeah.
There are not many like marketing tools in crypto, I would say. Fuul is one of the few ones, and it covers such a broad aspect of this. Like you started with affiliates, right? Now you expanded in the whole everything incentive design. So, what's your story?
I think my story starts in Argentina. So I was born and raised in Argentina, so that naturally drew me to crypto early on in 2014. I had some experience working in the States. Basically, I had US dollars in a bank account here in the US, and I went back to Argentina, and I really wanted to keep that money safe. I didn't want to bring it to Argentina because there's a lot of like political, economic instability. Hopefully that will change now, but basically I found in Bitcoin something that could hedge me from, the local government and, the instability. So that was early on, 2014. But at that point, I started my career, working in growth. So I was doing user acquisition for Expedia in Latin America. driving app downloads and in-app, bookings across all Latin America. Then I was leading growth, and I started my first company, which was an second-hand electronics marketplace, always through the lenses of growth. I was always working on growth and also performance marketing. Did a lot of affiliate marketing. So I had that little seed on me about crypto. I wanted to really make crypto go mainstream because I really felt that the power was huge. But it was not until 2020 that I started seeing like all these DeFi projects coming out, NFTs, that I went fully in. I moved to the States, actually. I went to MIT, to Boston, to do a master's. And that's when I started. Yeah, it was a fun time. But yeah, that was like 2021, 2022. I started like working with or consulting for a few DeFi protocols. And I realized that there was literally no way to understand if you're actually driving growth or not. Like I would found myself actually DMing KOLs and trying to get their attention, get them to post about us, and then I would have like a tweet with a few likes, some replies that didn't mean anything at all, and I had no way to actually understand if that actually drove me revenue or activity or not. So at that point, I teamed up with Andre, my co-founder, and we started thinking about like this protocol that would actually allow projects to go mainstream by doing scalable growth by just paying for results. Like it's an incentives distribution protocol. Like you do X, you get this, but I make sure that you actually completed that action before. And we started specifically with a use case for referrals, so affiliate referral marketing, and then we have expanded a lot more to liquidity incentives, trading competitions, points programs, and so forth.
Let's dive deeper into that, because we love that, and we love our Argentina. I spent like 2 months back there last year, and we love it. And then there's all the stuff happening with Crecimiento and Milei, and there's a lot of
an Argentina report.
Yeah, and by the way, Myosin published a whole State of Crypto in Argentina report that we'll link it out. You can find it in our Twitter. We'll share it out, but we're majorly bullish on it, obviously. And it's a really cool story because I think you kind of have experience firsthand. I mean, what do they say? Necessity is the mother of invention or something like that. I mean, I think I'm butchering it, but you get the point, right?
Yeah.
You were a growth guy. You were trying to grow some things, and you're like, this is a complete fucking mess. Let's go do something. I'd love to, obviously, like there's so much that you guys do today, and but I would love to kind of continue this story and kind of hone in and understand, when you were launching Fuul and starting to think through, with affiliates and referrals, how did that go? What were the things you learned about that in that time, I guess? And what was it that started to get you to think, okay, maybe there's more to this, and we got to think about other types of incentives and mechanisms? What did that story
for sure
look like?
Yeah, so to be honest, like the idea to start with the use case for referrals was that, in Web2, it's not a very transparent industry, to be honest. So usually, let's say you're a creator, you go out, you create this content, you get a lot of people to click through those links and go directly to perform an e-commerce, purchase. And then hopefully by the end of the month or maybe 2 months, you get paid. So that's usually how it works. And the idea here was to allow projects to escrow funds into a smart contract. Now everybody has full transparency that those funds are there. You can even actually verify if that transaction took place or not. We can go on chain and we can see as that transaction that was referred actually took place or not. And then from there, we could automate the payout, and that payout would be delivered automatically in almost real time to this affiliate. So that was like the idea was to bring more transparency and faster payouts in this specific use case. So we started with that. We actually saw like great results, and we continue to do referral marketing, of course. We actually power the affiliate program for Vertex, for DYDX, for Sushi, and many others. So we're seeing more and more, big crypto brands in DeFi actually adopt this growth channel. But we also started, getting, I guess, like ideas from projects. They were like, hey, actually, I'm deployed on this chain, and we just got like these incentives, and I want to just like incentivize users to trade. I want to incentivize users to migrate their liquidity from their, like OP pool to my Arbitrum pool. So we were like, yeah, that totally makes sense. We can do it like with the same protocol. So we started baking those in. So it was kind of like the market pulling us into that direction as well. And with that also came points early last year, which was like a huge, I
So
guess
it
like
was a very natural evolution, is what I'm hearing. Yeah,
yeah.
makes sense. And I mean that's the most important thing, is like getting close to the user and thinking it through. Polina, you got some thoughts? Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of paint a picture of what does the landscape look like if we're talking about incentives design, because a lot of the projects limit themselves with questing platforms, and it's far from everything, and it's far from being a legitimate way to acquire long-term users. So for anyone maybe new to the space in marketing, what are the tools that they can use to grow a crypto brand?
So Question is one that, I mean, I think was growing like crazy 2022, and it's still, they're growing and there are great platforms out there. Um, I think it's like a good complement to Fuel, for example, or to any other platform that you can use. I think it allows you to break the zero, right? Like to address that cold start problem. Like when you launch your Twitter profile and there's like 0 followers, I think it's a good way to actually get some activity there. I would say that a lot of the projects that I know struggle to find like real loyal users from that. So I think like it can only take you that far. And I think like there's a lot of I mean, I would say different avenues for growth that have been scaling. Like we've seen, the rise of Web3 ads, projects, segmenting users by their on-chain activity to show them some ads. That is something interesting. Referrals has also been growing a lot. And then like incentives for specifically doing actions. So I think like all this like era of startups being built around the same time as when we started, like late 2022, 2023, has kind of like stepped up a little bit the game in terms of like targeting and incentive distribution. Because before, like it was just like mostly questing, where you had to like a tweet, retweet, you have to change your name, you have to change your profile picture, like all of that. And now we're actually now talking about like segmenting users by their on-chain activity, distributing those rewards based on-chain like verifiable activity. So I think that's a little bit how the landscape grew.
And when it comes to dividing users into the segments, is that something that's done on the Fuel platform, or is this something that's done
Yeah, so
how
that's a
it's
good question.
done?
We actually have a feature that we rolled out. I'm very bad at marketing Fuel on Twitter. You guys probably noticed, like I need to be more out there, like posting stuff. I'm actually, that's like a New Year resolution for me.
Don't worry about it. Oh,
But
wait, real quick. What I will say is, and this is a problem for me too. Like, I'm not a huge yapper on Twitter, even though I need to be. It's
On
the
Instagram, you
publish.
are.
I'm very active on Instagram, so that's same handle, by the way. You want to follow me? I'm private, but I'm very active. Yeah. Anyways, but cobbler's children have no shoes. That's all it is. We're too busy marketing for other people, so it's like, hey, like
yeah,
I think it's a good sign
no,
actually, because we're too busy
yeah,
doing the work.
yeah. I used to think the same way, but also like I see, like um, you know I don't want to get too spicy, but like you see like chains coming out, like with
Yep.
this huge marketing, and there's no chain, so
Yep.
like if
Get
you if
spicy. Throw some names out.
I don't know, but like if you're really if
Okay.
you're really good at it, I think, I mean,
Mhm.
that's really valuable, and that's really
Yapping
strategic mode
is
that you can build.
yapping is not a
Uh,
But
bad thing to some extent. To some extent.
do these people though come to you and be like, okay, we have this budget, we don't have a chain in reality, but we want users and we want like hype and everything. Can you design an incentive system for us so that we would generate more on-chain transactions or like social metrics so that we would secure more funding down the line?
I mean, there are a lot of projects that reach out to us or look at our docs and
Mm.
stuff, and they know that they want to do an incentive program. But when you ask, like, okay, what is that you want to incentivize, then they don't really know. So there's also like
Okay.
this meta of like doing a points
Nice.
program just by the sake of doing a points program, or doing. Um, so yeah, in that sense, I mean, a lot of, I would say like most of the teams that use Fuel are really really like cognizant, and they really know what they're doing. But like sometimes it does happen that people wanna deploy a program just to have that check mark on their GTM strategy. But going back to the audience's question, like we actually have like a whole feature on our app where you can create these audiences of users based on on-chain behavior. So you could say, people that have traded on my DEX for the past 30 days over this amount of volume. People that have used my competitors' DEX over the past 90 days. So with that, you can actually now start baking in, like multipliers or incentives. So you could say, okay, if you do this action, if you swap and you are part of that audience that were using my competitor, I will actually return you the gas fees, for example. So there's a lot of things that you can start, like getting creative with, and you can build your own very own incentive program tailored to you.
So just building on that, could you walk me a bit through more of the platform itself? So is it just a classic like SaaS subscription model, and then you get to like set up campaigns, or is it more of a protocol level where you have to integrate with your DApp? Like how does it work?
Yeah. So basically, it's a protocol in the sense that you have on one end you have like the incentives creation or generation. So that means that, for example, some alpha, like there's a new app that's built on top of the Fuel protocol that will be launching in a few weeks, and it will be tailored exclusively for the trading competitions use case. So that offers like a really tailored experience if you want to incentivize volume for this token on sushi or on Uniswap, for example. Anyone, the app is built, and then anyone can come in there. They can see all the trading competitions that are live. They can create a trading competition on any exchange because you make use of composability.
Right.
So you don't need the integration with Uniswap or anything like that. On the campaign generation side, anyone can build an app on top of the Fuel protocol, and the Fuel protocol will actually take care of all the attribution and all the verification that those on-chain events took place. And then for using the app that we have now on our website is the app that we as Kuyen Labs have been developing. It's a SaaS model. So based on the different incentives that you want to run, different on the volume of events that will happen, you get a different pricing. It's still not permissionless or self-serve. That's something that we're really working towards making it go live Q2 or end of Q1 this year. So
Alpha.
I think, yeah. Also, you mentioned something and it really struck a nerve. I think referral program and ambassador program is like a must for a GTM doc, and everyone has it. But I think that few people understand what it takes to actually pull off an ambassador program in the right way, because it's a lot of effort to keep up with it, to keep up with the people, to have this like communication. If I were to use Fuel, for example, right? I mean, also, if you just launch and you want to have a referral program, it's not like you can DM people, hey, join my referral program. It's so cool. Is there some sort of like a discovery mechanism that you can, invite people in to join, or like, that you could sort of solve the cool store problem?
Yeah. So one thing that we encountered when we're doing like specifically like referral programs is that launching the referral program should be the easiest part of all. Like some projects are like, hey, I launched my referral program, people are not coming, they're not generating their links, they're not being referred users. Of course, because that's just like the infra to have that ability for users to do so. So there's a lot of effort that needs to go into actually, like onboarding these users that are going to refer others. And that means, maybe doing like a live stream, AMA, explain what are the virtues of your project, like why should they care about your project, why maybe their friends would be interested in using your project, because nobody likes to refer a product that doesn't work or it's not easy to use. I mean, of course, you're incentivizing people to refer, but nobody wants to be that person in a group that just like shields stuff that has no value. So you need to onboard them, you need to educate them on your product. Hopefully, they are already users of your product. And then you also need to build a lot of like marketing materials. So, for example, on the DYDX affiliate program, once you are onboarded into the program, there's like a repository of videos, of blog posts, of social media copy for inspiration that affiliates can actually use to then go on and just like create their own content. So you can point out to them, okay, what's like really good affiliate content that has been performing well. And then also leaderboards are also something that is very, very useful, because they can see, I can see, okay, Paulina, I know Paulina, I follow Paulina on Twitter, I know she's making top one, top two on this program. Okay, this is what she's doing.
Mhm. I mean, you also said that you started with affiliate and referrals and then expanded into other things because the market wanted you to, basically. Was that, I would imagine that in the last year you have had a lot of learnings with launching all of these things and, building a new app specifically for trading competitions. So what would you say were your sort of key learnings and, number one requests from people that come to Fuel?
So learning, I would say, I think one learning that I just like, a lot of my learnings also come from looking at other projects in the space. Sometimes they're not using Fuel. But one that I really liked is the one from Jupiter, from Solana. They basically just like, everybody was
We love
expecting like this
Jupiter.
big
We had
Jupiter.
we had Soju, OX Soju from Jupiter come on last
Nice.
year, and really good stuff, and super
The
bullish on
bi-
them. Yeah,
Basically, like they just turned down this narrative of like this huge hyped airdrop, and they basically said, okay, collect your airdrop this January. In the meantime, you will continue to collect points. Come back next January for more tokens. And that actually showed that if you do that one-time airdrop, you're kind of like taking away all these incentives for a lot of people to actually continue using your product. So I think that was very smart, and that's something that when projects I chat with this project and tell me like, yeah, we're gonna do a points program for just like 4 months and then just like TGE, and then okay, sometimes I like to tell them or suggest them to look at that case and see if that's uh, if that should be the case. I don't believe in a world where it's like points or tokens. I think the combination of both works really really great.
so I actually want to double down on that, or like double click on that, right? Because I think it's very fitting that you're on this week, because literally last week, I'm not sure if you
Mm-hmm.
saw, but we had Fran from Superfluid on,
Yeah.
and what they're doing, super excited about, and I'm like literally internally I'm like, Myosin needs to be using this for our own token and our own point system. It makes a lot of sense. So I would just be curious to understand, like, how do you think about, like, number one, are you talking to Superfluid and figuring out how you guys can collab? Because if not, happy to connect you guys or whatever. But more than that is like, how are you thinking about points and tokens, and how does that fit into the Fuel ecosystem? Whether it's the protocol layer, whether it's the application, are you guys actually helping architect those programs for not clients, but I guess customers in this case, or
Yeah.
how? Love to get your take on that. Yeah.
Yeah, so well, I know Superfluid. I mean, from what's live on the website, I do not know them personally, but I think it's great stuff what they're doing. I really also believe on this thesis of progressive distribution, and that's something that we like. That's why I say like Fuel is like the operating system for incentives, because this is not like just like a one-time thing. Um, like for example, like liquidity incentives, like projects that use Fuel, like they provide like, incentives for people to deposit liquidity into a specific UniBT pool on a specific price range. What we do, like whereas before a project might say, "Okay, just for depositing, I will give you this reward." Today, what we're doing is we're actually every day randomly we're taking snapshots of all the LPs, and we look at all those LPs and we look at their net position. Took away some of their position, maybe they added more, and they get rewarded on a daily basis on their contribution to that LP pool. Um, so that actually you're actually like distributing these rewards on a daily basis, and we want to make that time to value or time to incentive, like I call it, time to incentive, as short as possible, so that users can actually feel that they're getting incentivized in real time. Because you know if you just do like the incentive once a month, then I don't think it's as effective, because I could hold my liquidity for 29 days and I would be severely punished if I just have to withdraw. So I think that fits a little bit with what they do with progressive, or streams,
Yeah.
I think they call it.
Yeah.
And I think that's interesting. And
Instead of just giving them a bunch of token at one time at the end of every month, you're saying just it's not quite streaming, but it's somewhere in between
exactly,
of
we don't do streaming, but
liquid.
we do like very, yeah.
Yeah.
So when a project comes to you and they want to use Fuel and they see that it's a SaaS model and they want to grow, they want to incentivize something, but they don't know what, is that, something that you help them figure out, or you kind of expect them to come with you with a specific ask?
No, I mean, ideally we like projects that have a strong
Know what they
opinion
want.
of what they want, because it's always great to work with people that have opinions. But if they don't know, or maybe they see in us like that we're kind of like experts in the space, so
Mm.
we can say, okay, I mean, a lot of the projects look pretty similar. They're forks of similar projects and so forth. So we have been working a lot on our content over the past few months. So now, like on our website, we have a case study section. So you can filter those out by specific vertical. So it's a lending, exchange,
Mm-hmm.
NFTs, and from there you can find inspiration. And we can also, share on what we're seeing that is really working out for a specific vertical. But yeah.
Is there a case study or yeah, is there a case study that you feel particularly most proud of or most
Um,
excited about?
I think there are a lot. Recently, now we were powering a gas rebate program and referral program for sushi, and that has been growing really well. It's a net ROI positive program in just like 2 months. So I think for us, when we're able to demonstrate that there's actually return on these incentives, that for every dollar that you put in an incentive, you actually get more than $1. For us, that's like a huge win.
Yeah.
I really try to encourage people to think the same way. It doesn't matter if you receive those tokens from a foundation, or it doesn't matter if it's your own native token and you feel that you can print it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think also for me, it would be interesting to know your story of growing Fuel specifically because there aren't many growth tools in the space that much, like tools for marketers in general. And I feel like whenever you have one, it's not very easy to market because it's such a small space and you can just, launch your quest or something because it's not for the masses. So what would you say were the most effective ways to grow it?
Yeah, I think for me, so Fuel is Queen Laos is my third company, and my previous company were 500 people, which was like a huge operation, very different, very difficult to kind of like make decisions and move forward fast. So for this time, like I really wanted to have like a very small team. I didn't fall into the temptation of hiring someone for BD, because I felt that if you don't have like a product that scales, or if you don't really understand how to better serve users or projects in this case,
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to like scale that. So one thing that I learned is that logos matter a lot. I think in B2B in general, like it's really important to have like good logos that are using your product.
Social signaling. What are you gonna do? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that is definitely important. Case studies as well. Maybe I think like most people prefer to see case studies before going into a demo. So creating
What's
content
your
is
favorite case?
that one is the most recent, to be honest.
Yeah.
There's one from Vertex, which is great.
Hmm.
There's another one from Hashflow,
Okay.
which is Alexa
What are
runner.
those? What are those? What happened with them?
Give us
So
some details. Yeah.
yeah, so with Vertex, it was a referral program. So it started out like pretty simple, and then they actually ended up building like 4 tiers of affiliates. So that meant that to be on the first tier, you were earning 10% referral on the fees, but then to kind of like graduate onto the next year, you need to have more trading volume referred, and also you need to stake Vertex tokens to have skin in the game. And that one, what I think is very interesting is that not only like there was a lot of referred volume coming in, I can't remember the exact number right now, but also there were a lot of users trying to gain the system. So that was a very good project to actually double down on civil resistance for Fuel, because we're able to understand and build tech to understand whether a cluster of wallets actually belong to the same user. And there's over 30 signals that we look at. The most obvious, like if you actually do like looping transactions between those wallets, if all of those have the same source of funds and so forth. But yeah, that enabled us to actually remove like a few $100,000 in commissions that were being paid before by
Wow.
them on their previous affiliate program that they had.
So it's
Yeah. So basically, I think there are like 3 layers to work around civil detection. Um, the first, the first one I think is just like adding some friction, or the worst friction is KYC. But then there's some like proxies that you can use, for example, like logging with a Twitter account, or like opting into the program with a wallet that has over X months of age, or over X months of transactions, or number of transactions actually. So that is one way, by like lifting up the requirements to join. And of course it's not perfect, but you can without a lot of these like new wallets that come out. Okay, so that's one. The other one that we use a lot is what we call like kind of like proactive measures, which is we can set up like a payout cap of points or tokens for a specific wallet. So in the case of the Vertex program, I think there's a cap that you can earn per month, or you can also there's a cap that you can put in for a specific referred user. Okay, so let's say someone refers a whale, someone refers a market maker. You don't want to pay out like a huge percentage of that. Maybe you can cap that at $100, for example. The same goes for the DYDX affiliate program. Like there's a cap on how much you can earn on a monthly basis per referral. So that one, we usually try to implement it, because there's kind of like safeguard for the whole incentive distribution. And then the last one, which is the most complex, is the one that I was telling before, which implies actually like doing a lot of analytics on how these different wallets actually might be connected. So these are like looping transactions. These are the source of funds. These are like common transactions that they do at similar times. And of course, I cannot like share the whole list of things, because if not, we would lose like the secret recipe.
It's a classic
But also, it's not.
jackrabbits. Yeah, can't give away
But
the
also, I would
secret.
say that it's not perfect. Like it's just like a set of heuristics that you place in, and then we are able to flag those users to the projects, and then the projects can say, okay, I'm happy with still pay out to these users, or I want to reject these users from getting any payouts.
So I'm curious, because there are so many different incentives designs that you do. And in the case of, if you're earn affiliate commission, or if you're in a trading competition and you want to see your position or then claim your prize, is that something that you have to use like Fuel on itself, or do you integrate like a widget or something in the
Yeah.
side?
So one thing that's really cool about Fuel is that we build it as a protocol, and it's a non-custodial protocol. So every single incentive program that is deployed through Fuel, it's a smart contract of itself. That means that the project that's actually designing and implement and launching the program is the admin of that smart contract. So Kuyen Labs, like our company, or the protocol itself, like doesn't have the custody of any of the funds. And that also means that all those funds are available on chain. Okay, so if a user wants to claim the rewards, they don't need to come through us. They just can ping the contract. And we have like a lot of the projects that are using Fuel actually have an implementation on their own app, and users can claim directly through that without knowing what Fuel is about.
Yeah, because I was thinking more about how Web2 proof is this, because as we expand and more, there are more and more conversations about Web3 being an invisible layer and things like that. If we're introducing another tool in the stack, then it complicates things for
We're
users.
actually going to be launching a program. I cannot share it because it's going to be a big announcement at ETH Denver. But the users will authenticate through a Web2 platform. It's not through MetaMask or anything like that. So it's gonna be a big one. No, I cannot.
No?
Is this something that you build for someone else, like as a request from one of the clients, or is it something that was in the pipeline from the?
No, it's actually something that's native to Fuel. It's just that they're using like a different login for the users to authenticate themselves. It's gonna be an ambassador program.
Okay,
Super
so
exciting.
as a protocol, I'm trying to grow in any way, right? And I want to use questing. I want to have a referral program. I want to have an affiliate program. I want to have an ambassador program. If I want to do the social questing and like get my metrics up, is that something that I can also do with Fuel, or are you trying to stay away from this because of all the farming and civil?
Yeah, so we do offer social activities, but just a few, like not the super extreme, like hashtag in your name, or change the profile picture, just like follow and I think like likes. And then for other social stuff, we also integrate with Zapier, which is like a no code automation tool. So that one is really nice because we had some projects actually implemented it to incentivize users when they start their repo on GitHub, when they join a Discord server, and all of that is powered through that. So through our integration with Zapier, so that actually opens up a lot of possibilities to distribute incentives for these actions without us having to go and integrate with every single one of these platforms.
Yeah, I think also the idea of having a multi-tiered sort of rewards program and all of this stuff, it's very appealing, but at the same time, it's so complicated that it's so easy to get sort of stuck in the weeds and it could backfire. Are there cases where it happened before, or
No, yeah,
you were
totally.
trying to prevent it?
No, 100%. Like I feel like the first thing, like the base layer for a program to be successful is that it needs to be understandable. Like if you start with like all these conditions, but then if you do this and then you hold, and then just like people are kind of like lost their attention and they just move on to something else. So we try to encourage teams to try to think in simple terms, and then from there maybe you can like layer on other incentives, but maybe at least like from the start, just to start simple. Um, and I always encourage people to think about like what I call like a progressive launch. So rather than just like launching your incentive programs and just like share all the criteria to earn the points or to earn tokens, just like start by like presenting one specific incentive for one action, and then maybe 2 weeks time you share or you announce the other incentive that you want to do. Because it's great that if people don't happen to be on Twitter when you or Farcaster when you announce this program, they still have another shot to learning what this program is about, and you can always keep the momentum growing. And we've seen a lot of there's a project that's using Fuul right now that's called Resolve, which is a stablecoin project, and basically they've been integrating their stablecoin and their pools across many protocols. So they always have like some new integration to add into the program. So I think that keeps
And
the
they're like, go
momentum.
do that.
Exactly.
Or
Yeah.
21.
So I think that's a great strategy. Yeah.
What's
To be honest, like I haven't used their product. I think, I mean, if they're actually, I mean, I used Rabbit Hole and I used their post. I know there's now like a new update to their product, but I think from what I saw previously, it was mostly focused towards like NFT mints and NFT actions. So kind of like maybe like a different target of project than what we are usually dealing with. Like we're mostly working with chains and with DeFi projects. If they're actually moving towards like opening up that possibility to do more on-chain actions, I think that's great because that gives builders like more opportunities to actually measure what matters and like scale for doing that. And I think at the end of the day, like I mean, I'm happy that there's more infra for this, because that's the only way that Web3 can go mainstream. Like, to be honest, like it's not gonna be endless VC money for projects to burn. Like we really need to. I think like there's a lot of infra on scalability, performance, but none of that matters if you don't actually have scale distribution.
Fair enough. If you were to kind of bottom line, how do you build a successful incentive program? I would say step number one, decide what you want to incentivize. What are your goals, right?
100%.
Step number two, I know what are my goals. I come to you and say, Locha, I want to use Fuul. These are my goals. How can I achieve them? And then you can help me figure out the ways to build this program. Is that correct to assume?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, so like anyone can book a demo
Mm-hmm.
through our website, and from there, like we try to understand, okay, what are the goals of the projects, what they're looking to incentivize, and then from there they can set it up themselves on our app. So we have built like all of these primitives. So for example, if you wanted to incentivize, liquidity on a Uniswap B3 pool, there's a preset or like a template that says Uniswap B3. You just need to add the contract address for the pool, the range of liquidity, and then you're good to go. You don't need to do any coding or analyze the contract. Everything is like kind of like preset it for you in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
um, so yeah, like, and also like a lot of the times, like it's marketers like you and me that are actually using Fuul, so they don't necessarily know how to code or.
But I'm thinking in terms of, for example, a platform like Galaxy, right? If I am I'm an end user and I want to farm points or get rewards, I go there and there's a certain exploratory where I can see what are the programs generally. I can see what projects doing what. Is there something like this also at Fuul, where I can not only just look at the case studies, but I can also see in real time what are the programs that are live, take inspirations from them, and maybe participate in them too?
Yeah, we're not live yet. We're gonna be launching that pretty soon. Yeah.
Alpha.
More alpha. Let's go. Always.
Yeah.
And for this secret feature that you're launching at ETH Denver, if you were to pick one like a dream client that could use it, who could it be? Did you have someone like as a marketer, an ideal customer in mind when you were building this feature?
I think maybe like this customer that will announce this is one of those.
Damn it. I thought this would have been such a good hint, but you didn't.
He's trying to be sneaky,
You just
but
let
it
me
will,
guess.
it will be announced pretty soon. It's gonna be
Keeping his cards close. Stay tuned for that, brother.
Yeah.
He'll be
Yeah.
there.
No, getting US visa as a Russian citizen is not great. I can tell you that.
Russian can be a
But
challenge,
yeah.
Fair enough.
Well, we have 10 minutes left or a bit less, so I just wanted to do a bit of a rapid fire thing. Blake, you want to hit it off?
Points. You get out of hate.
Yeah,
Right.
I think it's more being disappointed in the disappointing airdrops rather than points, because points have been web tech for decades there and they work. Obviously, it's just how you use them.
And also
Right,
remember that
points.
before points, people were just like trying to guess, what was like a desired action. I remember like this bankless article saying like how you farm for this airdrop, and they just like were
Try
trying to
this.
guess.
Do this. Do this. Do this.
Yeah,
do this.
exactly.
Do this.
Oof. I think that Twitter is a great marketing channel, but I think like the overdoing it or maybe like posting things that's not relevant to your target audience can backfire. At least like I see that a lot of projects obsess over Twitter. But yeah, that's my 2 cents. I don't know.
And no, it was funny because Locha said his resolution is to start posting more on Twitter.
Yeah, but specifically, I wanna start like building more in public and share more about Fuel. Because like, generally like there's a lot of like good reactions that people have when they see the product, but I don't do a like good job like actually showing it more often.
Denver is a good start. Behind
like
the
the
scenes.
thing of tagging like a bunch of people just to get like farm engagement.
That's LinkedIn.
Yeah. To try and work in this industry.
It's actually funny. Like that is the one thing that actually brought me back to Farcaster. Like I used to be like pretty active, and then I stopped using Farcaster, and now I'm going back. Let's do it. I think mostly like these layer 2s or layer 1 EVMs that still like haven't launched. Most of them. One case is Vera Chain. I think they're launching tomorrow finally. There are a few others that are still like testnet. And
You saw that
I saw that as well. People will, So I think like they're doing something like really cool. Like kind of like reminds me of Blast layer 2 when they announced and they had like this multi-sig and people were just like depositing into that without really knowing there was no chain.
Blast.
There's credits for that, I think.
Where's your hat? The red hat.
Where's my mega ETH hat? Yeah, I have a make it put on.
Oh, that's a difficult one. I think learning or principle, I think it's just like, again, like being opinionated about like how the feature is gonna shape up. I think like it's very easy to fall into these narratives, the meta and the customer as well. Sometimes like projects that are looking to use Fuel for something that I don't think it's gonna stick long term. I mean, points actually is one that actually had me thinking about that. And the reason why we started supporting points on Fuel is because I saw that points were perfect for pre-TGE or pre-monetization projects. So I saw like a natural, progression from points to TGE, and now I'm even more bullish about like having both at the same time going on. But yeah, some of like these, metas or narratives, come and go pretty fast. So trying to, really, stick to what I think it's gonna stick in the space and what is just like something that's gonna just last a few months.
Gonna
Totally.
premium?
Yeah. And also revenue is the only way to actually understand how much value you're bringing. Like no
Are they
free
willing to pay
lunches.
for it? Yeah. Everyone
Exactly.
wants
Yeah.
one of
Nice.
our, but
Yeah. Thank
really
you
great
guys. It was
chatting.
fun.
Yeah, thank you for coming on.
Talk to you soon,
Yeah, and
guys. Thank you much.
oh,
Yeah,
this is
just
your moment. Yeah.
if you're looking to build an incentive program, if you want to grow your protocol across any EVM chains, just check out our website fuul.xyz and feel free to reach out to me on Twitter. It's at IMLOCHA.
That's a great way to end it.
Thank you guys.
We'll
Thank
see you
you.
online.
Thank you guys.
Until
See you
then, thanks so
online.
much.
Bye bye.